my aunt. Ladies and gentlemen, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening. Wait!
Circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast.
Yo. What's good, brother? I know who you are, bro.
Bro, I just want to welcome you, bro. It's going to be incredible.
For sure.
I'm so happy with what we did.
For sure, me too.
I don't know how you feel, but I'm super excited to start working.
For sure.
Honestly, no, bro, welcome.
For sure, I can't wait to get out there, buddy.
For sure.
All right, bro. I see you soon. For sure.
Enjoy your night.
All right, so the NBA draft is over, and it has left fans quite conflicted, as Kendrick Lamar would say. Lots of fans don't know if they're pleased or disappointed in this draft, or maybe a little bit of both, and I understand it. When you're a fan of a losing team, there will be growing pains. It's hard to see the vision. Hindsight is always easier than foresight. Negatives are more noticeable than positives. I mean, we can remember the jerk who cut us off in traffic, probably even the license plate, but do we remember the car who let us merge during a traffic jam? Probably not. So I understand that it's hard to find the light at the end of the tunnel during a time so trepidatious. But I'm gonna say this with my chest, okay? With all the conviction and belief in the world, I think the San Antonio Spurs just had the perfect draft. Brian Wright and company just did a great job of not only utilizing hindsight, but also foresight. So, as you guys know, in our last video, we talked about the needs of the San Antonio Spurs. Hindsight told us that we don't need to struggle finding a defensive wing. Been there, done that. So, what did the Spurs do? The Spurs made sure not to make the same mistake. Foresight forced the question, why draft a player you don't believe in when you can get better trade assets for the future? The Spurs are still benefiting to this day from the Kawhi Leonard trade 6 years ago, which is impressive to say the least. I want to forget about the 8th pick and talk about the 4th. That's what this video is all about. If you follow my Clan the Spurs fan channel, you know I am a fan of our 2nd round picks as well, but this Castle one, it just hits different.
Big. I got it, guys. I got it. What's this?
I think it's always good to look at the floor and ceiling when discussing players, so we'll talk about Castle's floor, his ceiling, and why I think the Spurs may have just struck gold in a weaker than normal draft. Castle's floor is actually what makes me the most excited, believe it or not. When I take a look at a player's floor, I like to evaluate what they already do well, and then make the assumption that their worst skills make minimal improvements. So, elephant in the room. If you've been on Twitter or X for more than 2 minutes, still don't understand the dumb name change, Elon, you will know that the fans aren't happy with Castle's inability to consistently hit threes. Let's ignore his shooting in high school and focus on what people actually care about. During his season with UConn, he averaged nearly 27%. Not great, so we'll just make the assumption it improves to a respectable percentage. Not elite, but you can't always leave him open. Let's say he can minimally improve to about 31-32% in the NBA, and with the Spurs, who have done wonders for players in the past, and most recently Sohan, I will safely make the assumption he could do it. Now, focusing on what he does well, he has exceptionally, and I mean exceptionally high basketball IQ, passing versatility, and lockdown defense. He is an absolute enforcer on that end of the ball. His 6'6" frame and decent wingspan will surely cause many headaches in the NBA. And he does not shy away from his identity because he has already said he wants to go against Luka Doncic. That is something. And Castle, he also maneuvers around screens very well and has lateral quickness that is second to none. He's also a super aggressive rebounder, which makes me think how many rebounds he and Ingram are going to be taken away from Wemby, because they're relentless. Castle also has a really good feel for the game and knows when to cut to the basket and frustrate off-ball defenders, willing to set screens and do the dirty work. He's what the kids would call a dog. These are aspects of his game that I think he can and will undoubtedly lean on. I believe that Castle, at his worst, is a do-it-all guard, an essential piece to many team success, whether it be Alex Caruso, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Christian Braun, just to name a few. So that's his floor. But let's say everything comes together. His shooting, shot creation, everything. What are we looking at?
Being a Spur ain't easy. It's kind of lonely at the top. Got a 6th string and my 3-pointer and a coach that we call Pop.
In my opinion, Stephon Castle has a very, very high ceiling. Ignoring just the positives I've already laid out, I want to focus on what would happen if everything clicked. No one is worried about defense. We know that area is elite, but offense is where he'll need to improve. As I said, this kid has high basketball IQ, but his lack of three-point shooting limits him to some degree. So if he could drastically improve that aspect of his game, I have no doubt in my mind in a couple seasons, he'll be able to fully utilize his leverage over defenders and keep them on their heels while confused by his intent on the court. He's already shown a lot in his bag when getting to the rim, so adding a consistent three-point shot to the mix would make that aspect of his game flourish even more. And just to give you a little bit of hopium, he did shoot 75% from the free throw line, which also shows that his shooting mechanics aren't completely broken. Not always the best indicator of what kind of shooter you'll be. Obviously, Bruce Bowen was a good three-point shooter, but terrible at the line. But hey, for a lot of players, that does help. And I'm not going to lie to you, Castle isn't the most explosive athlete out there, but he's shown an ability to switch gears. He has solid ball handling skills that was often overlooked when playing in a great system that is UConn's motion offense, and he also is a winner, or at the very least, he has a winning attitude. I don't think we have to elaborate on that too much, but he did make many of key plays for his championship run in UConn. And part of being a winner is believing in yourself. Castle made it known to teams before the draft even started that he didn't want to go to any team that already had an established point guard. This says three things to me. One, he and San Antonio believe that he has the capability of being a future starting point guard. Two, he believed that he's more than what he was able to show at UConn. And three, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think this also was a way to signal to teams that he wanted to work with Wemby and Popovich. And not all players are willing to play for a high demand coach like Pop. I get that. But the ones that are willing and eager to do so are typically winners. Lastly, Castle is a crafty player. He is patient with the ball, has a calm demeanor, but plays hard on both ends of the court. So let's go over the key points to this whole ceiling soliloquy.
Yes.
Indeed.
Fancy some steak wine?
Indubitably.
Now, let's see if everything comes together. He's 6'6" with a solid frame, great defender, great rebounder, high basketball IQ, but have to work on his three-point shooting. Already a good off-ball player, not the most athletic guy in the world, but can still change gears, continue developing already solid ball handling skills, and has a winning attitude and mentality with calm and collected demeanor. My friends, if all of this comes together, we could be looking at the archetype that the San Antonio Spurs have been searching for since 2021. Castle's ceiling could very well be SGA. And I know I'm crazy, I'm insane, put me in a psych ward, I'm Batman's Joker now, but if you think that of me, you also need to think that of Castle. When asked who he could be in the NBA, he had the exact same answer. And I love to give more comparisons, but let's be real, SGA is a rare type of player and not many like him. So best case scenario, the Spurs just hit it out the park. And worst case scenario, they at least made it to third base. That sounded like weird innuendo. I didn't mean it that way. But like I said before, whether he turns into Derek White or SGA, I think the Spurs and Brian Wright may have just found their future point guard, but truly, at the very least, an underrated gem.
But you look up winner in the dictionary and you're going to see a picture of Stephon Castle.
So yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting the content. Crazy how many subscribers and views we've gotten so far, and the channel just started. So I just want to say thank you so much. And yeah, if you like the content, subscribe. And if you didn't like it, ironically subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Till next time, peace.